Hello. I've been talking about playing with the pine needles, and I'm going to making a basket. I had brought up a short video about practicing on a piece I had started some time ago, maybe a demonstration. And I was practicing the different stitches, and I've now decided on the V stitch because it's really rather simple. I can now use this on a table, put a vase, something on. So I'm going to show you. I couldn't help it. I started working on this gourd. So that's what I'm going to be working on. So here I have this gourd. I have actually prepared it. I've taken all the seeds out. I've scraped all the stuff that holds the seeds in out some time ago. I varnished it probably about 3 times, enough that it held some of the varnish in the bottom to kind of smooth it out. I've cleaned the outside, did a little bit of sanding before I varnished. I drilled holes where each one of these stitches go in, and that way it helps me hold. It makes it so much easier. I'm using, this is a waxed cotton, which helps it hold. I'm using my little snips. Sometimes when you do the needle through and I'm trying to, it's kind of, and it's tight, I need a little bit of help. So I use needle nose pliers to kind of pull it through. I have these nice, this little leather piece that goes on my finger to help me push it through so I don't hurt myself. So that's where I'm going to start. Seems like every time I start a video and I stop, I think of something else I forgot. And for the most part, the important thing is that I have a moist towel here. I had soaked the pine needles so that I could make it to where they're pliable. And again, these are wonderful longleaf pines. So I'm not putting them in more than I would, have to. Because earlier you'll see that I'm putting them in quite often to try to keep the gauge full. And so keeping them in this kind of damp towel helps them stay pliable. Now I have to watch them. I don't want them to get moldy. Although putting the essential oils when I soak them helps keep that kind of thing happening. I don't keep it soaking wet, but I have a gauge. It's a straw piece. The hard part, and it's actually easy compared to trying to start it without something that it's on, is that this gourd makes it kind of a slippery so that it doesn't, once I start going into this part, when I pull them in and tighten it, it'll actually hold better with this waxed cotton string. Here we go. I'm sticking it into the same hole twice. So as I move the straw, you can see that I'm about to go over to the very first hole that I started with. I still don't have the pine needle cording to where I can actually put it just through that. So here's the second hole. So at this point, I'm going to take some pine needles, and because there'll be a cording on top of this eventually, I can stick it into the center of the coil. Here we go, coming out. And it's trying to cross over, and I'm going to correct it. I think I'll do it again out that same hole. And again, this is the first hole I started the whole coil with. All right, move my gauge. And it appears as though I'm going to need to do one more down into the second hole. Okay, take that around, and I'm going to take it into the coil. And have it come through. And I'm a patient person, so I don't want to be in a hurry. I've made quite a few these pieces, and by no means am I like some people are. It's just amazing the things that they make. You get books or you go someplace to an amazing craft square. The stuff is just unbelievable. That takes a lot of practice. Again, another piece, pine needle. Now I'm trying to have the needle come out between there. And it being on this first coil, it's a little bit of work. Move the gauge, make it into the same place, and it gives it the V. And again, now I'm on the other side, and you can see this is where I'm going to put the needle in between that V. So it comes out on the other side. Actually, I'm going to put it over here. One over. That's the tricky part, is trying to make sure I'm putting it in the right place going in so it comes out. I'm putting a couple of needles. The idea here is you're wanting this to stay snug. You don't want it so tight that you can't pull it. You can see I've come out. I'm going to put it in the same place on this side. Okay. Take it over. And again, I'm having it come out between the V here. A butterfly just, oh, nice. Yeah. Before I was talking about putting it underneath, but after practicing on my coil, I realized that that was rather foolish because it's very difficult to do it that way. So putting it through on top, and then when you come across with another coil, that kind of covers any of the pine needles that want to stick out. Okay, I've done something wrong, and I believe in correcting the mistake before you get too far. As you can see here, there should be just go through that hole twice so it makes a V, and I put it through a third time, and I realized that there might have been a point where I'd say, oh, I don't care about that, and if you want to be that way, you know what, somebody's not really going to see it unless they're really looking close. And if I was selling this, then I would do what I'm doing. I would correct it. Take out my stitches. It's kind of like if you're sewing clothes and you don't do it correctly. You'll have to come back to this one. And then I will take it over. So here we go. Now, something I didn't say is I'm using a needle that the end is a bit blunt, so that it doesn't go through the pine needle. It wouldn't, it's so sharp that it would go through the actual needle and cause it to split. And then it has a rather decent size hole to be able to get the sides thread in. So now I'm going to move this second stitch over to here to correct the problem that I actually made. I'm making this for a gift. And by doing that, I want it to be right. I kind of prefer doing it while I'm sitting mindlessly somewhere, even in front of the TV, talking to my husband or someone else. I've even gone to medical appointments and sat in the waiting room and worked on my craft. And I'm starting to run out my cording. So see how I have started adding the second coil. Okay, I've been working on my pine needle basket gourd. I'm getting close to being done. I'm going to take it out, maybe a couple more, and maybe start putting some beads on it. Still trying to decide about the beads. I like it when I put the beads on. I just am not sure what color. So I've been taking this around, and as I came through the lip here, I started to lean it over so that I could get it to turn and make, the rim. And as you go along, I kind of take it and kind of bend it along to help it, so it doesn't kind of go up, which it'll do. It'll get wider. So I kind of work on squeezing it down like that so it'll start to make the roll in the rim. I also have these little strings in here. There's a lot of ways to do this, to end one string and start another. So many. Right now I'm playing with one where I just kind of stop them, the one that goes through, this is the one that ends coming this way, and this is the one that ends, when I start it again. So I have to periodically tighten them, because they will loosen as I move this. So I go around and I just kind of pull both sides. And then as I go up several different rows, I actually take this, this little string, and I'll put the needle on it, and I take it into the coil. I take it in to where it'll go through a couple of coils and then come out on the other side. And then I snip it very close. And that's how I do that. I let it go around. I wait until it gets down at least three coils, because I want it to stay tight. I want it to kind of lock it when I take it in like that. The book that I have shows taking them and kind of knotting them and twisting them and then just coming back with a coil like this and go right over it. But I didn't like the way that worked. So, like crafts like this, you come up with some ideas of your own, or you just look at a lot of different resource material. That kind of helps you and gives you ideas. That's what it's all about. Give you some ideas. And then you try it and do something a little to tweak it to make it, easiest for you. So now I'm done with the beading. I've gone as far as I'm going to go. It kind of ends here, and that's where I started. I'll now put one more coil that goes around the outside to kind of finish it off. So once I get done, then I'll start tying off and securing these other strings. I'm at a point now where I need to add some more string onto this, and one more coil and I'll be done. Okay, I'm coming to the end,
and I think this is a part that I need to make sure you see. I am no longer putting needles into this coil. The old here's where I started, and I stopped putting them on, and then I started my coil. So now I've come around and I'm at that point, and it'll start to blend into the rim. So that's how I'll just keep doing the stitches until it takes it around, and that should finish it.
Okay, I'm finished with my pine needle basket gourd. I have put the beads on. I like the blue-green colors. This has a little bit of an iridescence to it. I ended up putting the final cord on that gave it an edge. I like the way that looks. This is the gourd coming out. You can see I have done about 3 of these. The last one I actually put 3 rows of beads. The friend that I gifted it to kind of had maybe a more Indian look. Black and turquoise were the beads I used. So that's it. I'm finished with that project. If you have any questions, just ask. I'll do what I can to answer them, or at least guide you in some direction to help you out.